Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, and this video I'm just sharing with you 3 children's books that I've read in the last few weeks. Right now, I have like 5 days overdue books, which means it's going to be a terrible fine. I was trying so hard to get so many children's books read. I have checked these out or renewed these 3 times, and I'm just not getting done. I'm about halfway through the book Sweep, and that's by Jonathan Auxier, I think is how you would say it. And I'll be honest, I think I'm burned out in children's books right now, and I'm just not, it's not the first thing I'm grabbing. It definitely is a season that I'm in because the story and the plot line are definitely my, something I would really like, but I'm just not going to get to it right now. But I've got to get these books back. Another one that I read is Dare to Disappoint, Growing Up in Turkey by that author. And it's backwards. So it's O-Z-G-E. Anyway, it's about a girl that grows up in Turkey. It is a graphic novel. And it was a easy read. It's kind of talking about communism and the direction that Turkey went with socialism and Islamic, and especially in the realm of education. I would say this is a pretty big book about education during that time, and it was really fascinating. There were some drawings in there that I was like, okay, I really don't want my kids seeing it. I don't remember any language in here, to be honest. There might be a couple of things, but it's kind of this girl's struggle with her sister being the smart one and the one that her family, they just want their girls to succeed, to go to all this prestigious schools so that they don't, they're in a higher class, they're not in a lower class. And it's just really eye-opening that how much of our American culture, and especially in its education system, basically is kind of collapsing like it did here in Turkey. And this is a kind of a memoir, a graphic novel memoir, and just her life trying to get, to please her parents, to be smart, to think out, or to think inside the box. It was definitely very interesting, kind of reflective. One thing that I think that graphic novels does pretty good is they try really hard to take some heavy information and make it as simple and concise as possible, and sometimes you just need a little bit more, and sometimes it's perfect. You don't want much more. So that one was a definitely interesting read. I don't know if it's something that I could say I recommend, but if you're interested in culture like that, and especially some of the political and the family, and it was really well done for that kind of story. The other one I read is Secret Sisters of the Salty Sea by Lynn Ray Perkins. And if anybody has ever read what I would consider a classic, Sisters by David McPhail, I would say this is a bigger, more wordy version of that story. David McPhail's story of sisters talks about 2 sisters, how they're opposite, but they always stand by each other, and they find that through their likes and dislikes, they still come together and they still love each other, and it's just this whimsical, beautiful book. And it's kind of the same thing in this. You've got 2 sisters going on a summer vacation over to the coast. I believe it's the Atlantic coast. And you've got the little sister and the big sister, and they kind of, it's like the David McPhail sisters, they're a little bit more grown up. So you have the 2 different personalities. One's more studious and one is more bold and daring, and how they kind of want to find that common ground, how they love each other, how they annoy each other. It was really sweet. I think this is kind of like the The Year of Billy Miller, which I think would be a good, you know, more advanced reader for younger kids that just want thicker books to read beyond the you can read stuff. In this similar way, I think it was like that. The words are a little challenging, but still pretty simple. The illustrations are pretty sweet. I was trying to think of anything in here that might be, you know, objectionable, and I think at the end the parents go to a casino, and that might be a problem for some. But anyway, I thought it was really, really sweet, and just a fun, easy read, great for the upcoming summer. The other book that I finished this month is actually the audiobook of 8 Cousins by Louisa May Alcott, who wrote Little Woman. This is the story of Rose, whose father dies, and she goes and stays with her aunt and her uncle, and her uncle's the guardian that her brother kind of, or her father kind of said, look, this is a brother that is not married, doesn't have any children, and I think he will raise you up right. The brother is a doctor. It kind of opens up with her uncle being gone, and she's staying with her aunts, and basically she's not a well child, and her aunts are giving her all these remedies, and then the doctor comes and he's like, you know what, no, we're gonna throw it all out, exercise and fresh air, and you know, a good life is what you really need. There's definitely some funny things going on in here. The doctor is, or the uncle is very just not caught up in some of the ridiculousness of the Victorian age, and it's one that as I'm reading, I'm like, okay, yeah, I need to bring the family in together, and this is going to be our next read aloud, just because it was so much fun watching all these kids work together. It kind of took me back to growing up in a family of 9. Some of the boys, they were still boys, they were still fun and mischievous, but still gentlemen, and that was kind of like, okay, you look, boys, you can still have fun and do all these things, but still work towards being a gentleman. Rose has, you know, her flaws that she's working through. There's a servant there, Phoebe, that's kind of that kind-hearted person, and just in the style of Louisa May Alcott, she just makes a great living book. And so honestly, y'all, if you want to pick up something to read to your family in the next couple of months, I highly recommend 8 Cousins. And then like I said, I listened to that on audio. The gal that did it was phenomenal. I'll leave it linked down below. But after reading it, I needed to read the other one, and so I picked up my copy of Rose in Bloom, which is the sequel to that. Her be turning into a woman and having suitors, and that looks like one of her cousins right there with the glasses. So there's a little hint as to what happens in 8 Cousins. So those are the children's books that I have read or have set aside or going to read in the past few weeks, and I just wanted to share those with you, especially as I got to get those library books back as quickly as possible. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.